Charity and Church. Hi everybody, it's Wednesday. So the two things we're talking about today is charities in our country and Kony 2012. I'll start with charities. As many of you know, about a year ago, there was a huge disaster with earthquakes and tsunamis up in northern Japan. As I found out later on, some of the problems with disasters in Japan is the Japanese government wants to equally divide aid between all of the people, which means it can take a long time through the government to get help to the people. As well, they also don't like citizens taking matters into their own hands, like when two guys came around to the disaster zone and started giving about the equivalent of $100 bills out. They were arrested. Now, I don't know the full story on that, but that's just an example of how the Japanese government wants to work. They want fairness for all the people so that the aid gets spread equally. But this also means it can take charities a while to get into Japan to give aid. Actually, one of the most productive ways of giving aid has been the churches in Japan, because they're exempt from some of these government rules determining when people can give aid. Also, I know in Japan there's a lot of mission trips of groups of people going up to the disaster zones, though the groups were only able to stay for a maximum of 3 days because there was so much radiation going on up there. So it was really nice to help out back in that summer. Me and my Japanese class actually wrote cards to Japanese churches that they took over, congratulating and thanking them for their support. Okay, now time for Kony 2012. I'm kind of wary on Kony 2012 and Invisible Children. I know it's been exploding up on the internet, and I know that's great for Invisible Children and their publicity, but it also sounds like Invisible Children isn't working as well with the Ugandan government and that kind of thing. These are just things I've heard. I really should go back and fact-check everything I've heard, because that's really important when you're looking at charities and that kind of thing, is to repeatedly fact-check. That way you're not just hearing one side of the story and not the other. So my main problem with Kony 2012 is this arbitrary deadline of this dictator has to be caught by this time, and you think he's been running around for 20 plus years and people have been trying to get him for probably all of those years, and somehow just because the whole internet has decided they want to work toward this one idea of getting Kony, it's not going to just make it happen. It's even with all this power behind it, that's great, but it still takes time, because we can't just rush in there with all our armies and not think about the consequences. As well, the Ugandan government is really corrupt, and maybe giving them weapons and strategy isn't the best idea either. So there really is no right answer, and I'm not saying any of these are completely the wrong answer. I think gathering support from the internet is such a cool and interesting new idea, and it's really awesome that we're doing that. But we shouldn't think that just because the whole internet has decided that Kony should be stopped within 2012 that he will be. There's a lot of international politics and international relations going on between all the different countries, and we don't really know where Kony is and all that kind of thing. So it's really difficult to get a clear handle on what is actually going on in Uganda. Also, I read an article, I think it was in Time, saying that Uganda didn't really want Invisible Children helping out because some of their stories were a little bit incorrect, or just based on a couple children, not actually what's really going on. So I'm kind of wary on Invisible Children and what's going on. I'm not saying we shouldn't help, it's just we should be more wary about where and how we're going to help. I really don't like this deadline that says, oh, it has to happen this year, because it might not happen this year, but if we keep working little by little, then maybe we will be able to catch him in the next couple of years and save these children. But it's better to do it more carefully and have less aftermath than to do it quickly and have more aftermath. So, as you can see, I don't have all the answers. Keep fact-checking, keep looking back. If I said anything wrong, feel free to tell me in the comments, because I really want to know what you guys think, if there's any other kinds of information you've heard, and what do you think about this whole Invisible Children Kony 2012 situation. Now for the word of the week. We actually have 10 words of the week today, which is 1 through 10. 1 is ichi, 2 is ni, 3 is san, 4 is yon, 5 is go, 6 is roku, 7 is nana, 8 is hachi, 9 is kyu, and 10 is ju. じゃあね。